What is going on, guys? Today we're working on a 2019 Sorento. This one is the naturally aspirated 3.3 liter. These are great engines. We're just going to do some spark plugs on it. Thing's got 100,000 miles on it. Front three, pretty easy. Take the coils out, place the plugs, no big deal. However, the back bank, you have to pull the intake off to be able to get access to those. So we're going to walk through that whole process. Let's get into it. First step, all we gotta do is get our plastic engine shroud off of here. Pops on there. Before I get anything taken apart, I'm gonna go ahead and blow some air across here, try to blow all that loose dust and debris out of our way. We don't want that down in our spark plug holes, in our cylinders, or when we pull that intake off. Now as I'm looking at this thing, I'm just going to take this intake off for those back plugs. I want to take as few things off as possible. So, like up here, these two lines, one of them runs back to the booster, and there's a bracket that holds that whole assembly onto the intake. I want to see if I can get the hose itself off here. That way that piece can stay bolted to the intake. Same thing over here. I just want to leave that bolted to the intake and unplug it. Once again, just try to go through and do as few things as possible that I have to disconnect so I can get this intake out of the way. Then you got a wire loom bolted to the intake here. We're gonna go ahead and get those two 10mm bolts taken out. And we've got, looks like a plug here on the front. We're gonna do that one. We've got a plug here on the passenger side. Looks like that's going to have to come off. This wire loom is attached to the intake. Get that off. It's just going to have these clips that break. It's pretty normal. Then we've got a plug right back here at the intake. That off, and then it is attached with some clips to the intake itself. We'll get those off so it'll lay out of the way. Okay, like I said, this attaches here, connects to this bracket, which attaches here. Once again, I didn't want to have to get back and take that bolt out from the back, so I just took my line off right here to disconnect it. Now we're going to get our throttle body boot off. So we got a single screw. It goes there, and then top half of this air box, we'll see about just pulling out of the way. So the top half of that air box is not a top half like a lot of them are. It doesn't separate, it's a whole box. Filter just comes out the end. So I went ahead, took my line off here, my line off at this side, loosened the throttle body and at the air box. I'm just gonna try to get this boot here out of the way. Like that. Okay, now we've got our 4 bolts. Hold the throttle body on. Just gonna let it set down here out of the way. Throttle body's out of the way. Look back here. There is another hose. Clamp comes down. Pull that off. I think we're getting close to starting in on loosening the intake bolts. I'm going to start on those. It looks like we've got 1 there, 2, 3 up top. You've got another one, 4 there, 5 right here in the front. And if we look down here, we've got number 6, number 7, and it looks like number 8. I think that's all of them. I'll get those out and then we'll see if this intake will come loose. Okay, got all those intake bolts out here. What I found is there is a retaining bracket on the back of this intake. It's a number 14. What I've done is basically 1/4 inch short socket with a flex head ratchet. You can come in from right here and get that thing loose. It's a little tight, but it's doable. Now we're going to see if this intake will come up and out of here. Key here is to be gentle as you pull this thing out, because what I'm already seeing is I forgot to disconnect an electrical connector right here, and looks like another vacuum hose or an evap hose there. So I don't want to just try to rip this thing out or break something. So I'm going to go ahead and get these disconnected and we'll get it out. Okay, that's unplugged. That line's off. See if this thing will come out of here now. There we go. So now we've got access to our front 3 coils and our back 3 coils so we can get those plugs changed out. Pretty simple. You unplug the pigtail, take the single bolt that's holding that coil out, the whole thing will come out of there, and we can get in there with our spark plug socket. Another thing I did not show unplugging was your sensor here that goes into the top of the valve cover, because that sticks straight up. So the intake kept wanting to catch on it and I didn't want to break that thing, so went ahead and unplugged it to get it out of the way. Let's talk about these clips on these coils. These things are a pain. That gray piece slides back, and then it allows you to press, which releases the whole plug. Now these things usually break. If you kind of pull gently back with your hand, get a little bitty screwdriver, and just slowly help it out. See, there it popped back. Then we can press the tab and unplug it. Now before I take those back coils and plugs out, I've laid a rag across my intake. I want to go ahead and blow all the debris once again off that side, just so it doesn't end up in our spark plug holes. Now what I did, instead of unplugging the pigtails, these were all zip tied, was pop this clip off, allows them all to stay plugged in, lift out of there, set out of our way. Now we'll get those spark plugs out. It's always a good idea to put a little dielectric grease on the end of the new plugs before you put them in there. Pack 3 are done. Coils are put back in. Our wire loom is snapped back in place. So now move on to the front. We've got all our plugs replaced. Now we're going to get this intake back on. Now you could probably get away with reusing that gasket most of the time, but we've got a new one, so we're going to throw that on there. It will only go on there one way because of this little tab. So find where that little tab goes, which is actually on the second cylinder here, facing down. So facing towards us is the way that tab goes. All right, we got our new gasket done on our lower intake. Also replaced the gasket here for the throttle body. Go ahead and get this thing put back on there. Okay, we got that intake back on. We got all our wires, all our hoses, everything all put back together. Our intake is tight. We're gonna throw our cover back on here and then we're good to go. If you guys got any questions on that, be sure to throw them in the comments below. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. See you guys next time.